Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I'm Amy and I make videos on absolutely everything coloured pencil related. Today I'm showing you some super simple techniques for layering and shading with your coloured pencils, and this is one of the fundamental elements of coloured pencil work, so I thought that I would show you exactly how I layer and build colour, the position of my pencil, the pressure, all that kind of stuff. So let's get to it. Now when I work with coloured pencil, I like to build my layers and colours extremely lightly, as this helps to preserve the tooth of the paper and it builds real depth. Preserving the tooth of the paper is essential, especially if you have a lot of colours to add as well as those really super fine details. So I think the most essential tip I can give you for layering is the positioning of your hand on your pencil. Now for light layering, I like to hold my pencil quite far up the barrel, and I do this so that I can limit the amount of pressure that I'm actually applying through the pencil. The further you hold your pencil back, the less control you have over it, so you're unlikely to concentrate a whole load of pressure through that pencil tip, which is really essential for that light layering and the development of colour. What also helps here is a super sharp pencil. In my experience, a sharpened pencil lays down colour a lot smoother and evenly than a blunt pencil. However, you can still get a consistent smooth colour lay down even with a blunt pencil, so it doesn't really matter, but in my experience, a sharp pencil is better. With a sharp pencil and holding quite far back, you can gain some really smooth shading and you can really subtly and easily blend your coloured pencils. When I'm shading this way, I make sure that my grip isn't too tight on my pencil, that it's just sort of sitting within my hand, and I kind of just let the weight of the pencil touch the paper and shade really lightly back and forth. Too hard of a grip on the pencil will result in uneven shading and it can end up looking quite stripy and quite patchy, which isn't the desired look that you're going for. You want to keep your shading really smooth, really subtly blended, so holding your pencil quite far back, having that sharp pencil is going to allow you to do that. For a harder pressure when shading and layering, I like to hold my pencil further towards the point and in a more upright position, and I do this because it allows a little more control over the pencil, which results in that little bit of a harder pressure. Again, a sharp point on the pencil really helps here, but it isn't entirely essential. When I layer with a harder pressure, I grip my pencil a little bit more between my fingers, which again allows for that little bit of extra control. I find that the more control you have over the pencils, the harder the pressure tends to be, which is why I hold closer to the point and in a more upright position. It's incredibly difficult to use a hard pressure when you're holding your pencil quite far back and vice versa, which is why I think this is the best tip I can give when it comes to layering. Pencil and hand positioning are key, guys. It's really essential. Just have a little practice with the positioning of your hand on the barrel of your pencil and just see what difference it can make. Have a go holding your pencil quite far back and really lightly shading, and try applying a hard pressure through that pencil when you're holding it quite far back. It's going to come out really patchy and it's going to come out really uneven. And have a go at holding your pencil quite close to the point and try really lightly shading. When you hold your pencil quite close to the tip like that, you end up putting more control through the pencil, and again you can end up with a stripy, patchy, uneven look, which isn't really what you want to go for. You want those really nice smooth blended layers. Now, as I mentioned above, sharp pencils aren't entirely necessary, but it sure does make the job a whole lot easier. I always find it so much easier to add colour and layer with a sharper pencil. When my pencils become quite blunt, I find it a bit more of a chore, and I often end up applying too much pressure with my pencil to get the same outcome as I would with a sharper pencil. So now you're going to see my little sharky shark that I've been working on, and you get to see this hand and pencil positioning in action on a real life piece. You can see that as I'm working, I'm holding my pencil quite far back and at a more horizontal position to the paper. And what does this mean, guys? That's right, nice, smooth, light, even layers. And you'll also notice for this first layer that my pencil is quite blunt, and that's purely to show that you don't always need that sharp pencil, even though it does help a whole bunch. So the next important thing when layering coloured pencils is to remember that it's so much easier to work from light to dark than it is from dark to light. Have you guys ever tried to layer your super light colours over a dark area? Yeah, that's not easy. So as you can see, I'm working on this Sharky Shark. I start off with a really light colour and I really slowly work my way up to my darkest colours. And whilst doing this, I make sure that I use that light pressure to make sure I can get all the layers down that I need, which leads me on to my next tip for you guys. Where possible, always use those light layers. As I said in the beginning, light layering builds depth and tone, and it also preserves that paper tooth. And that paper tooth is what grabs your coloured pencil pigment. So if you diminish that too quickly, you're not going to be able to add that many layers or details. So you want to keep those layers really, really nice and light. Of course though, there are times when using a harder pressure can be a real friend. Now say that you are drawing something really dark and there's not too much detail and you know that you don't need to add too many layers. Then be my guest, feel free to layer with a harder pressure to get that job done quicker. But if you know that you need to add in super fine details and an abundance of colours, then using that hard pressure is going to hinder you from adding all of that. So just analyse your reference photo, see what areas you need to add details in, and if you do need to add details, then just use those lighter layer guys. Now I'm also going to mention this here because I get a lot of questions about how I use my white pencil for blending, and people often think that I am burnishing, but just look at my hand positioning. I hold the white pencil a fair bit back and at a slight angle, exactly the same way that I would hold any other colour when lightly shading. I always treat the white pencil like any other colour, and I only ever burnish with it right at the very end of a drawing. And when I do burnish with it, I hold it in a more upright position and I hold it really close to the tip so I can gain that ultimate control and I can put a whole load of pressure through there to really smooth out whatever it is that I'm burnishing. So that's pretty much it in the way of my tips for shading. This is more of a video of how you can get that really nice smooth shading, not necessarily about the kind of marks that you're making with your pencil. It's more about how you're holding a pencil and the technique in holding a pencil to get that really nice smooth shading. Now you want to remember to keep your layers light where possible, you want to keep those pencils sharp, and you really want to think about your hand positioning and the angle of your pencil for the smoothest application. And I really suggest that you guys give this a go because it really does make a difference to your shading. Just have a little play on a scrap paper like I have done here and just find out what hand positioning and how you hold your pencil can get different results. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on layering, then the real-time 30-minute tutorial is available for my Patreon and website subscribers. The link to both is in the description if you want to check either of those out. I really hope that these short tips have helped you with your coloured pencil layering, and if you have any suggestions on other technique tippy type things that you'd like me to cover, then pop them in the comments below. If you like this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and if you're new around here, then why not hit that subscribe button and join the world of everything coloured pencils. I post new videos every single Friday and I live stream on Sundays as well. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you guys next week. Bye!